It's hope, peace, love, and charity and faith. And it's in 57th and Flagler. So it's centrally located. They function more as a Spanish center, but we go there and they come here. And we have a great deal of love and respect for Maria Bayasa and her center. And today we have the honor that Barbara is going to be speaking to us on chapter 14 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Honor your father and your mother. Barbara?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I apologize for sometimes I do speak a little bit fast, a little bit slow, but I've been here before. It's a pleasure to be here again. It's a Sunday morning. It's a beautiful morning, and today the chapter will be chapter 14, which is honor your father and your mother. If you have any questions, you may ask me anything. I get tired of listening to myself, so please interrupt me at any time. It will be a pleasure. I usually have technological issues, but let's see if we could get this in chapter 14. Oh, don't worry. It's fine. That is okay, since we're a few of us. I have a question. Do you think usually it's expected from us as a society, we may be parents, we're daughters, granddaughters, family members, we have all those filial connections. But do you think that is that enough, that there is something else behind that bond, that we have a purpose for our father and our mothers? We do. And that bond, interesting, is that that bond is created from the spiritual world. Because usually we think that we're all created equal, and yes, we are. But before we come into this material body that we have, we're spirits, and we already decided to make that bond. Interesting enough, we think that we know our parents, we know them from before. Yes, we do, but sometimes it's not in the best circumstances. Sometimes we come here to mend those broken bonds that we have with those spirits, because in past lives, we may have aggravated them, we may have pending debts. It's very interesting. That's why society has a rule that we do have to respect our mother and father, but it's a guideline so we could follow and based in love, and it's connected with the spiritual words, so we could keep on floating that and getting that behind. Okay. It says filial devotion. Honor your father and thy mother, then they may belong upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. The commandment, honor your father and your mother, is an inference from the general laws of charity and love towards one fellow's beings, seeing that those who do not love their mother and father cannot then love their fellow creatures. But with regard to parents, here the word honor contains an extra obligation, which is filial devotion. God wishes to show us that respect, esteem, obedience, caring, submission, and deference should be joined to love. All these put together involve an obligation for each person to carry out what is demanded by charity with regard to one's neighbor, and which implies an even more rigorous duty towards parents. This duty naturally extends itself to those who take the place of a mother or a father, and whose merit is much greater because their devotion has nothing of obligation. God will rigorously punish all violations of this commandment. These are very harsh words, but if we put them into reality, we have always two sides of the balance. You have the loving parents that will raise you, like many of you have here or may not. They will give you everything unconditional. They would even take you, like we come from other countries, when you don't have a plate of food, they will give it to you because that is the love. So it is expected from that son or daughter or that family when they grow older to treat them with the same love and respect. That's why I always vouch that with elderlies, I see them as big children. They are, because they're like just besides the genetic process, they're just big kids. They just want love, they want attention. I don't know if you have seen many elders that they're like sitting and they're just there rocking a chair, but you go and any stranger may come sit with them and ask them about way back in the 1950s or the 1940s, how was their life, or they tell them you have beautiful hair, and they will soothe because what they're looking for, they're closer to the spiritual world at this age. This will be our parents, so they're looking for love. That's what we need to give them. However, on the other side, you have those parents, you have those mothers of fetal alcohol syndrome, of Down syndrome kids, that they're very detached from those kids. Most of the time, we'll go later into that. These spirits have a conflict. They give away these kids. That will be punished. But more than punish, I would say that God does justice. I don't like punishment. I think everything is a recycling circle. So whatever you came here to do and you fail, you will come again and do it again. Then those kids, because that's the behavior that they see, some of them turn out to be great attorneys, great doctors. Others turn out to be in that system that nobody's loved them. And then they keep on feeding that negative energy, unfortunately. So as a society, as a whole, as San Francisco used to say, it only takes a little flame to light up the whole world, even in the whole darkness. We have to promote that love toward the elders and toward the kids. So it could be even and even. It could be a balance. You do, even if you do dark, let me show you white. So like that we could compensate. Otherwise we would be very uncompensated. Any questions? Says, to honor your mother and father consists not only showing respect, but also helping them in their needs, offering them in their old age, and surrounding them with care, just as they themselves did for us during our infancy. Above all, it is necessary to demonstrate true filial believing. They are doing a lot of great deal of good. Offer only the strict necessities to their parents, so as to avoid them dying from hunger, while they deprive themselves of nothing, or when, so as no one to leave them unsheltered, they relegate them to the worst rooms in the house, while reserving the best, most comfortable for themselves. The parents are even fortunate with this is not done with ill will, or when they are obliged to pay heavily for the rest of their lives by being forced to run the home. Is it then that all unfaithful parents must serve their children who are younger and stronger? Did their mother make them pay for the milk they suckle? Did she count the sleepless nights when they were ill? Or the steps she took in order to guarantee they lack nothing? No. Children do not owe the parents only the strictest necessities. They also owe them, according to their responsibilities, all those little extras like thoughtfulness and loving care, which are nothing more than interested on what they themselves received, the payment of a sacred debt. This is then the only filial devotion which pleases God, as we were speaking before. We have to give love. It still amuses me. Nowadays, I'm part of a younger generation, but I was raised with 11 boys, cousins, and a brother, and they were all 12 years old, older than me. They still are. So I only have one female cousin that she's my age. But we're not gonna get into that details. It still amuses me sometimes how selfish, even though our parents provide us with everything, how selfish we could be, including myself. I'm not perfect. That's why I'm here on this earth. I wish I was, but I'm not. Sometimes we take everything for granted and we forget that the principles come from home. And sometimes I have a 98-year-old grandmother. Thank God she's like, I wish I could have her strength. And sometimes I recognize that I'm like, I'm rotten spoiled because she comes and she wants to talk to me. And I go visit her, but I get so tired from work that I'm like, no, no. And we get exasperated. It's normal because we live in a very hectic society. It is normal. And then I feel bad. But then when I meditate and I'm like, what? Wait, when I was born, I was 5 years old. She was the one that taught me how to play hammer, how to play dominoes, how to cook. So why sometimes I have to read it that? My mother. Let's go from generation to generation. All our mothers. I'm sure all of us here are like, there go moms. But, oh, mom. Oh, mom. I wish I could leave home. oh, mom, because we have Latin mothers. We know how they could get. And but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to talk. But then I'm like, that is my mother. She gave me everything. She gave me education. She made me know the difference between what was right and wrong. And then going back to my cousins, one of them is a doctor. He has plenty of money. And then he was telling one my great grandmother aunt, well, maybe I should put you on a home. I was like, oh my God, you didn't. Because for us, I'm like, and he was like, no, that was, I'm like, yeah, that's really rude. And she's perfectly fine. It's just because they're bigger and bigger and bigger. And we do it too. Everybody wants to be listened at one time. It's, it's okay. It's human nature. And it's part of our social life. And then we were all turned like, what are you saying? What? Well, it was a big family gathering. And then we were like, we could not believe you said that, especially you. And he's an oncologist. We're like, really? Coming from you? Well, you shouldn't come. It's to put as an example. It still amuses me. And like, how could we think about putting somebody who took care of us in a place that most probably we have the means, thank God. But if even you don't have the means, find a way to take care of that person at your ability, at your economic level. Just be there for them. Because here we get lost that everything has to be, you need to have the best house, the best this. But then when you put all these younger kids and the older generation, the younger kids, I have seen them, 5, 7 year olds. Oh no, but they stink. Well, oh no, by the smell. It's true, it's going to be different, but everybody would age. Everybody would get to that. So you have to teach. And we teach those kids, no, but you will get there. No, but they were like you once. Look at the pictures. And they're like, oh, okay. And even amusement, one of them said, oh, okay, then when she goes to heaven, I want that bed. I'm like, okay. But there was a 5 year old. I'm like, that is okay. And he's like, and we're gonna put her in a little box with flowers, right? We're gonna pray. I'm like, okay. That was a concept there, but it's a 5 year. You couldn't not ask for more. So I was like, okay, but it still amuses me and us as a younger generation. We need to provide the best for the older, especially for our mom and dad, who provide everything for us. And if they didn't, we need to provide for that other person who was there, who was not a filial bond. We'll talk to that in a few minutes. We need to provide for them the best too, according to our ability. Why? Because that's how we're gonna want to be treated. If we put our parents into a home, we never go to see them, and we raise our kids with PlayStation, Xbox, Coke, and ketchup. This is our generation nowadays, and they don't like, and it's okay, but technology is used to advance. What are we expecting from our kids? Do we want that they come and soothe us? They're gonna throw us there in a room with a bunch of things that most probably technologically we're not gonna know, and that's it. For them, it's fine because those are the values that we're instilling. However, if we didn't have, some may be adopted, some not, but there will always a kind soul that will take care of you. There's always somebody that will help you your way. There was always somebody that will take your hand. We have to help those two because those are family. Because even if we come here as a circles, as a family, like meaning carnal family, we do have a spiritual family. We all here, maybe in past lives, maybe in this one, have known each other some way, somehow, or placed correctly. We believe that destiny put us there. Yes, destiny put us there, but we had a pathway that we needed to follow. So we're always at the right moment, at the right time, where we need to be. Therefore, we need to help. Let's go to see this one. That's very interesting. Hold on. Corporeal relationship and spiritual relationship. This one is the difference. I love this one. Blood ties do not necessarily create bonds between spirits. The body comes from the body, but the spirit does not proceed from the spirit, since the spirit already existed before the formation of the body, meaning we were energy before, we were there, just waiting to be in this body. The parents do not create the spirit of the child. They do not nothing more than supply the material wrapping, although it is their duty to help the intellectual and moral development of their child in order to further its progress. Okay. That's why sometimes we have kids that they were orphans and they turn out to be great leaders because it was just a vehicle. The mother was given that task and she could have advanced her existence but provided intellectual and moral growth and support for that child. But that was, we have like free will. Therefore, that was her free will. And sometimes we have kids, sometimes we ask, oh my God, poor kid, he's like, just go a little bit deeper. Sometimes we have kids that they're born and they die within 6 months. It happened to me, it was very tough, but once you get the explanation, that's why this train for me is the best, because it has a logical sequence. You get babies that they die 6 months. You get kids that you're like, why they're like this? But those kids were spirits before and they needed to come to serve a purpose or to finish something from prior lives. Sometimes you have kids that are extremely sick and you do need to have the compassion. But the test is for everybody. It's for that kid, whoever moves around, for that personnel who's there. It's like a spider web that has many things involved with the race of that kid. But for that family, it's very strong too. However, when you're going to be a father and a mother together in the loving family, it's a test for that marriage. Because when you don't have enough love, what happens is that they fall apart. Kids are supposed to bring them together. It's like the epitome of the family, the combination of it. But since sometimes your things are so fickle, these two parents go apart. And then the kid has values on this house, has values on the other house, and it gets confused in the middle. And sometimes it's like, okay, that happens nowadays, it's very often, but we could deal with that. Do you know why? Because we have the choice. But we could deal with that always through love, through charity. That's how we need to do it. And we should never be quick to judge anybody because every time that we see a single mom, I still have a hard time. They say, oh my God, but she's a single mother. No wonder she's a single mother. There is nothing wrong with being a single mother. Sometimes single mother kids are great. Sometimes kids from a perfect marriage, God, they do need a lot of counseling. Okay. But as children, our children, us, we were children once, we need to respect our parents. Depending on how they were, if they punish us, if they didn't let us go to a party until 1 a.m. and we got curfews, it doesn't matter being there. But they instill in respect. And sometimes when we feel abandoned, because we're never alone, we always have God, but it's our human nature to feel alone, to feel depressed, not to feel happy. We're not in a happy planet, but we're in a planet of trials. So we need to make the best of it. Okay, so we need to, okay, I feel alone, nobody loves me, my family hates me. We're dramatic sometimes without the extent. We don't need it. But we need to say, somebody loves me. That friend that grabbed your hand and took you at your darkest hour, that is family. That is a family. I love a Hindu proverb that says, home is where the heart is. That's why sometimes you have people that they're in the same family that antagonize because they came to a trial, and then you have people that never met each other, but instantly there is a click. When you have that click, that's what we all like try to achieve. When you have that click, that's a spirit that you have a great affinity to it. Being good, being bad, we have all kinds. Any questions? I think I'm talking to myself. If you like my voice. Now let's go here. Okay, let's go to instructions from the spirits, children's ingratitude and family ties. Very interesting. When I was reading this, I was like, God, okay, God, let me, because we all not perfect, unfortunately. I was like, we have to be better daily, day by day, a little bit better. But family is like one of, always vouch for family. after reading this, it's been a long time that I was reading. I was at work, and then I was reading. I'm like, okay, and then all of these situations were coming, and I'm looking, okay, this is a test. Yes, I get the message. And I even got kids. Like I was at work, and I even got kids that they were like, I hate my mom, I hate my father. I was like, I'm my mother. On top of that, and my brother this week were unbearable. Like topping it all. But we have to be grateful and we have to enjoy those moments. You know why? I'm going based on my experience. When you have a lot of material things and you still feel that nostalgic, that depressive feeling, it's because you're not constantly happy. You're happy when you're surrounded with your family and your friends and you're nothing. You could even be on the grass eating a bread or whatever. That is the moment that you need to value more. Because at the end, all of this is just material energy. It will go away. What we're going to have forever, for eternity, is our soul, our energy. And energy transforms in different ways. That's something we need to think about it. It's hard to grasp the concept. For me, it is sometimes because I'm like, and it's easier to think, oh no, let's leave it there. We should not leave it there. We have to be restless because we're going to be spirits. So we have continued with that energy. Whatever we think we are, remember, what we think is what we are. And even if we don't say it, once you thought it, it's like if you have done it. Okay. Ingratitude is one of the most direct results of selfishness and always causes revolt in honest hearts. But the ingratitude of children toward their parents shows an even more hateful trait of character. It is especially this point of view we're going to consider so we may analyze the causes and effects of this attitude. In this case, as in all others, Spiritism offers enlightenment on one of the greatest problems of the human heart. We take everything for granted. And the more, I don't know if you have seen, the more advanced materialistically a country is, the more social problems arise, which it shouldn't be. And the more depressed they are, and the more family conflicts they have, and the less familiar nucleus you start having. Why? When a spirit leaves the earth plane, it takes with all the passions and all the virtues inherent in its nature, going on to improve itself in the spirit world to remain stationary until it desires to receive enlightenment. Free will. It has to come from our heart, from our soul. Accordingly, many spirits return to the spiritual world full of hate and violence, as well as full of insatiable desires for vengeance. Nevertheless, there are always some amongst them who are more advanced and so able to perceive a faint glimmer of truth, enable them to appreciate the disastrous consequences of these passions, which in turn induces them to make good resolutions in the future. These spirits understand that in order to reach God, there is only one password: charity. We've been talking about. But there can be no charity without being able to forget affronts and insults. Neither can be there any charity if there is no forgiveness or if the heart is filled with hate. That's why sometimes I love ingratitude and all of this, because we're so prone to say, oh, I forgive you, but I did not forget. And then I go like, okay, what kind of forgiveness is this? Remember, once we go to the spiritual world, we're the same, just without the body, but we're the same. So that's why feelings, vibrations, energies are so important. And sometimes we have these really resentful relationships between families. You have drug dealers, you have money, you have interested because they don't love each other. So everything is material. That's why they go. But however, there are other ones that said, I want to leave everything. These are your philanthropists, that they have everything and they're like, I want to leave everything apart. I don't want any more of this. And then they evolve and they forgive. That's why everybody deserves not a second chance, but like millions of chances. Do you know how many millions of chances we have gotten? Like we're here again today? I don't even want to know. This is this is this is a test for us. So at the end, as a family, as a daughter, as a dad, let's not discriminate our males, as a brother, as a cousin, we need to be able to forgive, to get all of those resentments away. We need to say, admit our wrongdoings because we have all done it. Admit our wrongdoings and leave them behind and start from zero. Today is the moment. Now, anything that you may think in retrospective back that may like give you that itch feeling, something that no, that's okay. It is okay to be wrong. It is okay to make mistakes. But let's start working with charity and love. And whenever we get, it's hard. It's very hard. But whenever we get a hard situation in our family, let's try to work it out. Let's try to mend those bonds. Let's try to be love. And especially let's have an union. And all situations with the power of God will be received. Any questions? No? Okay. Let us do our closing prayer. Thank you, God, for an opportunity to be here, alive, full of energy, for this sunshiny day. Thank you for all the trials that you put in our way. And please give us the light to always find the right solution at the perfect time, at the perfect moment, at your mercy and your grace. We ask for a very special blessing for all of the present ones here, incarnated and disincarnated, as well as our family members. And especially, we ask for joy, for happiness, and for those filial and spiritual bonds to be mended if they're broken and to continue flowing if they're great. Let us be an example of your love. Amen.